silence. Have you ever wondered how loud, absolute, sterile silence can be? All my life, for the past 35 years, I've been accompanied by noise. First, it was the hum of turbines at the drilling rig, then the rustle of magnetic tapes in the laboratory, and for the last few weeks, this cursed, methodical knocking in the walls of my house. One beat every 1.4 seconds. But now the knocking has stopped. And that's much worse. I'm sitting in my armchair in the living room. Outside the window is Seattle, the eternal rain, the lights of a big city that never sleeps. But here, inside, time seems to have frozen. I feel the air has become thick, almost palpable, as if I'm not in my apartment, but at a depth of 12,000 meters, crushed by billions of tons of granite. My clock on the wall, it has stopped. The second hand is frozen, twitching in convulsions, but unable to take the next step. It's scared too. It knows that time no longer matters. Remember I told you about Victor? About that old man who came to me 3 days ago? I thought he had left. I thought I had closed the door behind him. But now I understand. He never left. He just distributed himself. I see him in the reflection of the turned-off television. He stands right behind my shoulder. I don't turn around. I know that if I turn around, I won't see a man, but what flesh turns into when it resonates too long at the frequency of the abyss. You know, in 1989, when we just started the Echo 12 project, our chief geophysicist, academician Sokolov, said a strange thing. We had just received the first clear recordings of that heartbeat from the well. He looked at the spectrogram and whispered, "Alexei, we are not just listening to the Earth. We are listening to someone's memory." Back then, I didn't understand what he meant. I was young. I believed in numbers, in decibels, in solid-state physics. But now, as the silence in my room begins to pulsate, I begin to remember what my mind diligently erased all these decades. We didn't just lower microphones. We sent a signal back. It was a secret order from Moscow. They wanted to know if the well could be used as a giant resonator to transmit messages to the other side of the planet. We sent a powerful acoustic pulse deep into SG3, a pure sinusoid, immense power. We struck this abyss like a giant bell. And the abyss, it didn't just answer. It woke up. Do you hear it? No, of course not. Not yet. It starts as a slight itch at the base of the skull, as if someone is drawing a bow across your nerves. I look at my hands. They vibrate. But not from fear. It's a mechanical vibration. My bones, my muscles, my blood, everything is adjusting to a new rhythm. The very rhythm we found at a depth of 12,262 meters. Victor, he wasn't crazy. He was the first of us to understand the truth. The well wasn't a prison. It was an antenna. Those entities, those voices we heard, they are not trapped down there. They are the frequency itself. And when we heard them, when we recorded them on our tapes and let them into our ears, we became their carriers. We became living beacons. And now, when the steel plug on Kola has long rusted and overgrown with ice, they no longer need the well. They need us. I feel the walls of my room beginning to blur. The wallpaper, the furniture, the books, all of it seems painted on thin, tearing paper. Behind this paper is blackness, the same absolute, primordial blackness I saw in Victor's eyes. He extends his hand to me. In the reflection of the television, I see his fingers, long, unnaturally thin, like the roots of an old tree, touch my shoulder. Cold. An incredible, cosmic cold pierces me through. "It's time to descend, Lesha," he whispers, but his mouth doesn't move. The voice sounds directly in my brain, vibrating in sync with my fading heart. Descend where? To the basement? To the well? I want to ask, but my tongue doesn't obey. Down, he answers. Into the frequency. There is no pain there. There is no time there. There is only resonance. I remember that day in '89 when the KGB people arrived. They confiscated all tapes, all journals. They made us sign non-disclosure agreements. But they made one mistake. They thought a secret could be locked in a safe. But how do you lock up a sound? How do you lock up a vibration that has already entered your resonance? All of us who were on that shift, we were all doomed from the start. Dmitri, Igor, Katya. I know what happened to them. They didn't just die or go crazy. They tuned in. They went into the very silence I am in now. I see them now. They stand in the corners of my room. Shadows among shadows. I recognize them by their rhythm. Each of them has their own unique vibration pattern, but they all merge into one powerful, humming chord. And this chord, it's beautiful. God, why didn't I realize how beautiful it was before? This isn't horror. This is liberation. Liberation from fragile, decaying flesh, from the limitations of three-dimensional space. My house. It's no longer in Seattle. I look out the window and see not the city lights, but endless descending granite walls. I see glowing veins of minerals that pulsate in sync with my breathing. I'm there again, at depth. But now I'm not outside. I'm inside. I'm part of this rock. I'm part of this pressure. I feel my lungs filling not with air, but with liquid, incandescent stone. But it doesn't hurt. I'm calm. You know why we were so afraid of those screams on the recording? Because we thought they were the screams of martyrs, the screams of sinners in hell. But we were wrong. These were not screams of pain. These were screams of birth. The attempt of a new life form to break through the narrow bottleneck of our perception. And we, with our microphones and sensors, were the midwives of this nightmare. Victor places his second hand on my chest. I feel his fingers pass through my shirt, through my skin, through my ribs. He squeezes my heart. Quiet. Quiet, he whispers. Just tune in. Stop resisting. Become an echo. And I stop. I close my eyes. And at that moment, I hear everything. I hear every well on the planet, every mine, every crack in the ocean floor. The earth, it's all riddled with these wounds. And from every wound oozes this sound. We thought we were the masters of this planet, but we are just a thin layer of mold on the surface of a giant sleeping resonator. And now, the resonator is waking up. You, those who are listening to me now, you think this is just a story, just another horror for the night to tickle your nerves. I thought so too. But remember that slight itch at the base of the skull I mentioned at the beginning? You felt it, didn't you? Just a little, barely noticeable. You blamed it on fatigue, on an uncomfortable posture, on imagination. But it's not imagination. My voice, the frequency at which I am speaking now, I specifically tuned it. I am using this microphone, this internet, your headphones, as a retransmitter. Victor taught me. To break a connection, you need to transmit it further. To get out of resonance, you need to find a new object. Forgive me. I had no choice. I've been alone in this silence for too long. Now you are beacons. Now you are resonators. Listen to the silence in your home tonight. Listen for the knocking in the walls. And if you hear the rhythm, one beat every 1.4 seconds, don't turn around. Just know we are already near. We are you. Descend. It waits. Silence. Finally, silence. I remember how in '92, when the well was finally mothballed, one of our engineers, Pyotr Ilyich, refused to leave. He barricaded himself in the control room and for 3 days shouted into the microphone that they were asking him to stay. We thought he had lost his mind from the polar day and isolation. When the door was finally broken down, Ilyich was not there. The control room was empty. The windows were closed from the inside. The door was locked. Only on the wall, directly above the console, was scratched that very spiral, deep, right down to the concrete. And from this spiral, from it came a sound. The same hum that we caught at depth. I didn't pay attention to it then. I attributed it to collective psychosis. We were all on the verge. But now, sitting here in Seattle, I understand that Ilyich didn't disappear. He just found a shortcut. Space is also a vibration. If you vibrate at the right frequency, walls cease to be an obstacle. They become doors. And now these doors are opening all over the world. Do you know how many such wells there are all over the world? Not as deep as Kola, but deep enough to touch the crust of this sleeping consciousness. China, Germany, USA, we all dug. We all wanted to look into the abyss, and the abyss looked into us. It left its seeds in each of us, small particles of frequency that were waiting for their hour. And that hour has come. I look at my bookshelves. The books begin to slowly vibrate, their spines rubbing against each other, creating a sound similar to the whisper of thousands of insects. They speak to me. All the knowledge of humanity, locked in these paper rectangles, now seems meaningless. Why do we need philosophy? Why do we need history if we are only a byproduct of resonance? We are foam on the crest of a wave that rolls from the very center of the earth. Victor. He touches my neck. His fingers are cold like liquid nitrogen. I feel sparks of static electricity running across my skin. "Look at them, Lisha," he says. And I see. I see through the walls of my apartment. I see my neighbors, the family next door. They are having dinner, laughing, discussing plans for tomorrow. But I see what they don't see. I see how their shadows on the wall live their own lives, how they pulsate, how they reach out to them. Every person is an instrument, and most of us are out of tune. We make noise, we create chaos, but they are the perfect tuning fork. They came to tune us, to make a sound in unison. Can you imagine what that sound will be like when 8 billion people simultaneously vibrate at a frequency of 12 kilometers? It won't be a scream. It will be a song that will tear the atmosphere apart, a song that will turn the planet to dust. I remember my notes, the ones I made in secret from the KGB. I hid them in the force bottom of my suitcase. There were graphs, not just amplitude and frequency. There were patterns. If you superimposed them on a star map, they coincided with the location of certain constellations. We thought it was voices from hell, but what if it was voices from outside? What if the Kola well was not just a hole in the ground, but a receiver? A receiver for something that has been flying towards us from the depths of space for millions of years. And the Earth is not just a planet. It is a resonant chamber, a huge, hollow instrument tuned to receive this signal. And we are just biological lubricant, so that the signal passes cleaner, so that the resonance is stronger. God, we are not the crown of creation. We are parasites on the surface of a giant interstellar radio. Victor laughs. His laughter is the sound of breaking ice. You were always too smart, Lesha, he whispers. Too many questions. But questions are no longer needed. Only answers are needed. And there is only one answer. Silence. And he is right. In this silence, I begin to see the structure of reality. It looks like a crystal lattice that begins to melt. My memories of childhood, of my mother, of my first love, all this now seems like just interference on the recording, garbage that needs to be cleaned out so that only the pure tone remains. I remember the first time we heard the screams. It was 3 a.m. We all froze at the speakers. It didn't sound like human voices. It was the sound of metal tearing under incredible pressure, the sound of steam escaping from a boiler. But in this sound there was an intonation, a plea. We thought they were asking for help. But now I know. They were asking to let them in. They were asking to open the door. And we opened it. SG-3 was just the first. Now, thousands of drilling rigs are operating all over the world. We are digging deeper and deeper into the earth. We are looking for oil, gas, minerals. But in reality, we are looking for them. Our subconscious leads us. We are like ants building an anthill according to a program embedded in our genes. We are building an exit for them. And this exit is in each of us. I feel my teeth beginning to crumble. The vibration becomes unbearable. I want to scream, but my voice is now also part of this hum. I look in the mirror in the hallway. My face, it flows. Features shift. Eyes widen. Skin stretches like a drum. I am becoming like Victor. I am becoming like them. Are you still listening? Good. So the process has begun. Do you feel your eyelids getting heavy? How the room is getting colder? It's not a draft. It's pressure. The pressure of 12 kilometers of rock, which is now transmitted through your headphones. Your body begins to adapt. Your DNA begins to restructure itself to a new frequency. It's not painful. It's just inevitable. I see Seattle. The city outside the window begins to pulsate. The lights of skyscrapers flicker in sync with my heart. The whole world is now one giant resonator, and I, its conductor. No, not a conductor. I, the first violin, and you, the orchestra. And soon we will enter full force. Victor leaves. His figure dissolves into the air, leaving behind only a faint glow and the smell of ozone. See you down below, Lesha. His last words echo in my bones. I get up from the chair. My legs feel alien, heavy, as if they are made of lead. I go to the window. I want to open it. I want to let this sound into the world. But there is no window anymore. There is only an endless, black abyss. I take a step forward. I don't fall. I float. I float in this ocean of vibration. I hear the voices of everyone who ever lived on this earth. All their fears, all their hopes. All of it is now just overtones in my song. We, legion. We, echo. We, silence. If you hear a knock at your door right now, don't open it. It won't help. They are already inside. They were always inside, just waiting for you to hear them. And now, you hear them. You hear them. 1, 4 seconds. The rhythm, inevitable. Descend, descend, descend. Silence. Such pure silence. And finally, if you think that by turning off this video you will be saved, you are wrong. The frequency is already in you. It is in your cells. It is in your thoughts. You cannot escape your own resonance. Sleep peacefully, if you can. But remember, the abyss, it is already here. Silence. 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 I see the lights going out all over the world. Not because the electricity ran out, but because we no longer need it. We ourselves become sources of energy. I see people walking out into the streets of their cities. They are not screaming. They are not panicking. They just stand and look at the sky. And the sky, it changes color. It becomes the same as that abyss in the well, deep, saturated, alive. We finally tore off the veil. We finally saw the world as it really is. This is not the end of the world. This is the end of humanity as we knew it. We are moving to a new level. We are becoming part of something so vast that our minds can barely contain it. And the Kola Superdeep Borehole was just a small crack in the door through which we glimpsed this grandeur. Now the door is wide open, and there is no turning back. I feel my consciousness dissolving into this global chorus. I am no longer Alexei. I am the sound of the wind in the tundra. I am the crackling of ice in the Arctic. I am the hum of tectonic plates. I am you, and you are me. We are one. We are resonance. We are eternity. Don't look for answers in books. Don't look for answers from scientists. The answers are within you. In that very vibration that you feel right now. Listen. Do you hear it? It's not your heart. It's her heart. The heart of the earth. And it beats. One beat every 1.4 seconds. The rhythm. Completed. We have arrived. Silence. Light. Silence. Forever. Silence.